From the campus of North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro, North Carolina, this is NABJ News.
Under fire, Michigan Governor Rick Snyder is given an unfavorable warning after taking the stand in front of the U.S. House Committee.
And a health scare sent Chipotle customers running. Now how the company hopes free food could bring them back. Hello, I'm Aaliyah Williamson.
And I'm Dominique Moody. Welcome to NABJ News. We begin with breaking news. A brawl broke out on the campus of the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. NABJ's Alexis Wainwright has more on the story.
UNCG students showed up for a good time but got more than what they bargained for. Last night, a UNCG party attracted more people than expected. Tempers flared and the UNCG police weren't prepared for what happened next. Police have made arrests after multiple fights broke out on UNCG's campus. Paul Lester, the UNCG police chief, says 4 to 6 people were arrested. The fights occurred at the Coleman Gym in the Health and Human Performance Building.
We had a social event that had a larger crowd than expected, which resulted in a couple of fights.
The fights happened Friday night around 10 p.m. Lester says both UNCG and Greensboro police made the arrest. The fight started in the hallway, and the Greensboro police were called to help the campus police disperse the crowd.
I know that we had staff working the event. We did not expect the crowd to be that large, and I think that attributed to some of the fights.
Police do not know what started the fights at this time or if there were any injuries, and no charges have been filed at this time. The campus was put on lockdown after the incident. The Greensboro Police Department supervisor told us 3 people were arrested and charged with trespassing. We will keep you updated as the story develops. Back to you, Aaliyah and Dominique.
Thank you, Alexis. And a lightning strike gave passengers quite the scare.
They were on a flight from Raleigh to LaGuardia Airport when a belt surrounded the aircraft.
It was. I thought it was. We got hit by a missile.
No.
There was a flash of light and a big explosion. The plane dipped about 100 feet. I don't know. It just felt like I was on a roller coaster.
There were 55 passengers and 4 crew members on that flight. Luckily, no one was injured. Lawmakers are calling for Michigan Governor Rick Snyder to resign in the wake of the Flint water crisis.
This week, the governor testified in front of a congressional House committee. Snyder did apologize for the crisis, but he stopped short of taking all the blame. The exchange with lawmakers got pretty heated. Take a look.
I took immediate action. As soon as I learned there was a lead issue, we started issuing filters to people, doing water testing, doing blood testing.
Governor
and to be open
Snyder,
with you, I wish more would have been done.
Plausible deniability only works when it's plausible, and I'm not buying that you didn't know about any of this until October 2015. You were not in a medically induced coma for a year.
The head of the Environmental Protection Agency also testified, and lawmakers are asking her to resign as well.
One school, 2 districts. North Carolina A&T is no longer part of the state's 12th district.
And students are outraged after new congressional lines split the campus. NABJ's Gabrielle Brown has the story.
Despite living on the same campus, thousands of students at North Carolina A&T have been forced to vote at separate locations after lawmakers split the campus in 2 new congressional districts.
It was a lot easier for students to go out and vote and not have to worry about crossing the street and going to a different polling location.
The decision comes after a federal court ruled the old map grouped too many black voters in one district.
I don't like the idea. It's separating the students from the whole population.
Right now, I'm standing in the 13th Congressional District. The problem is, once I cross Laurel Street and walk just a few short steps, I'm now in the 6th Congressional District.
That means 6 dorms are in one district and 9 dorms are in another.
It has a profound impact on diluting the minority voting strength.
A&T political science professor Derek Smith told me some students will be disenfranchised because most will be home on summer break during a special June primary.
Definitely a negative thing.
Republicans represent the new districts once covered by Congresswoman Alma Adams. We reached out to her for comment, but she did not respond.
So we hope that the courts will actually take on the responsibility of redrawing the districts themselves.
In Greensboro, I'm Gabrielle Brown, NABJ News.
Now the students at North Carolina A&T are still lobbying for the campus to be in one district.
5 deputies in Cumberland County are suspended for their lack of intervention at a Donald Trump rally earlier this month. Sheriff Earl Butler launched an investigation after video surfaced of a Donald Trump supporter hitting a protester. You can see in this video, deputies didn't immediately arrest him after they witnessed the punch. The 78-year-old Donald Trump supporter was eventually charged with assault and disorderly conduct.
And on Sunday, President Obama will be the first U.S. president in 88 years to visit Cuba. President Obama will meet with Cuban President Raul Castro and a group of delegates. Their plan is to discuss opportunities for U.S. business and travel in Cuba. President Obama took to Twitter to express what he hopes to accomplish, tweeting, "We still have differences with the Cuban government that I will raise directly. I'll travel to Cuba to advance our progress and efforts that can improve the lives of the Cuban people." And speaking of Twitter, President Obama has created a brand new Twitter account. This one's called SCOTUS Nomination, and it supports the Supreme Court nominee, Merrick Garland.
That's right. This handle popped up seconds after the president's nomination announcement. It was initially verified and already has over 30,000 followers. Wish I had that many.
Nope, not going to do it. That's what the First Lady had to say when she was asked about running for president. Michelle Obama made these comments at the South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas. She says she wants to serve the public, yet not in public office. And she says that her children, first daughters Malia and Sasha, are a huge reason why.
You know, there's nothing like free food. Coming up, Chipotle's attempt at reeling customers back in.
Plus, are you tired of remembering a ton of passwords? I know I am.
Me too.
Well, one company wants to make your life a lot easier and make logging in as simple as a selfie.
Kids, job, family, you're busy, we know.
But that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice knowing what's going on. Want more news from your neighborhood in less time? You got it. WXII 12 News at 5, 6, 10, and 11 has new content and more of it.
What that means for you is more stories and weather information to help keep your family safe, all while not wasting your time.
That's why WXII 12 News fits your busy life.
WXII 12 News, the Triad's #1 news.
A&T student newspaper is turning 125 years old.
That's right. Students and faculty are looking forward to growing the Register's legacy. NABJ's Kira Nunnery has more.
North Carolina A&T has been making history since the 1890s. The Register student newspaper has highlighted key historic events, including Second University President Dr. James Dudley, astronaut and alumnus Dr. Ronald McNair, and President Barack Obama. The Register that you know today was actually called the A&T Agricultural and Technical College Register in the 1920s. Associate Professor Dr. Kim Smith is a journalism instructor and one of the researchers for the upcoming celebration.
This is opening a new chapter in journalism historical research. There is a lot of research on black newspapers in general.
The A&T Register newspaper has been around for over 125 years. Over these years, Dr. Smith told me that it has played a significant role in the HBCU community. A Register edition and graduate student, Jasmine Hooks, says that she is excited about the anniversary, adding, the staff is busy preparing for the upcoming events.
There's a lot of history on this campus, and that's what we're celebrating above all, is the history and the legacy that A&T is leaving even now.
A celebration of the legacy of the award-winning Register newspaper will be held Wednesday, March 23rd at 5 p.m. in the Dudley Art Galleries. There will be a lecture and an exhibit. The next day, Thursday the 24th, the university's anniversary will be honored at a public party at the Aggie Stadium. The newspaper exhibit also features the iconic photograph of the student sit-in of February in 1960. In Greensboro, Kiara Nunnery, NABJ News.
Congratulations on 125 years, and we wish you another 125.
The A&T Register is published every Wednesday, and it's free on campus and in the surrounding community, so grab your copy today.
Thanks to North Carolina voters, A&T School of Engineering will get $90 million from the NC Connect bond. College of Engineering Dean Robin Goger says the bond will create moderate classroom and lab space. She explained the new space will help the university achieve projected enrollment, which applications show is on the way. According to A&T's provost, they've received more than 15,000 applications for next fall. That's twice as many as applied last year.
Between offering free food and changing safety guidelines, Chipotle is working hard to improve its reputation. But has it worked? NABJ's Brianna Williams spoke with A&T students about what the recent outbreaks have done to their confidence in the popular food chain. She also gives us some tips on how to make sure a restaurant is safe before you dine.
After the recent E. coli, salmonella, and norovirus outbreaks, Chipotle has announced its execution of new food safety requirements. Students at North Carolina A&T State University voiced their opinions about the popular food chain.
Ever since the E. coli thing, I don't think I've gone once. Well, the only time I went was when they had the free burrito coupon.
On February 8th, Chipotle began a promotion offering customers the choice of a free burrito, bowl, or salad to compensate for shutting down stores nationwide in regards to the food safety issues. One customer told me that she thinks that the new employee training program is a great idea. Today was her first day eating back at the chain restaurant since the health scare outbreaks.
I guess that's a reasonable thing to do with the whole E. coli situation. They need to have better sanitation practices, so I think that's really good.
Cindy Ellington from the Guilford County Health Center in Greensboro says that fast food restaurant outbreaks such as what happened at Chipotle are not common.
I don't think you necessarily should be scared of the food you're eating in restaurants. A foodborne outbreak in a restaurant is very, very rare.
I contacted Chipotle. They responded via email with this statement. Thank you for taking the time to write. Unfortunately, we are unable to participate in this. We will keep you in mind for the future. In Greensboro, I'm Brianna Williams, NABJ News.
Brianna reached out to Chipotle managers and they responded, but couldn't give an update on how the company plans to advance its food preparation training. And SeaWorld's making a splash. They just announced a major change to their entertainment, and some say it's long overdue.
NABJ News Money reporter Ashley Wilson has that story and more in this week's Consumer Headlines.
Pretty soon, a trip to SeaWorld won't include a killer whale show. SeaWorld announced plans to eliminate the theatrical whale show to create an open sea pen for the orcas, and it's also ending its breeding program. Now the move comes after a documentary called Blackfish, which exposed the harsh treatments of the whales and led to nationwide protests. SeaWorld shares increased more than 9% after the announcement. And medical marijuana could soon be legal in Pennsylvania. Wednesday morning, supporters waited outside the state capitol as lawmakers passed the measure inside. The bill would let doctors prescribe medical marijuana in pill, oil, or liquid forms. The law says only people who have one of 16 qualifying conditions can take the medical marijuana. If the governor signs off, Pennsylvania would be the 24th state to legalize medical marijuana, making it legal in almost half of the U.S. And Amazon introduced a new way to pay that's perfect for the selfie generation. The company just filed a patent for facial recognition software. It would let customers use a picture instead of a password when they check out. Amazon says the change will help to fight identity theft, but there's no word on when the feature will be available to customers. Those are your money headlines. Back to you.
Thank you, Ashley. North Carolina A&T hosted their annual Tech Week last week.
Yeah, I got a chance to talk to some students who participated in hands-on exercises and listen to heads of technology corporations. Take a look. Jose Morataya, engineering is a no-brainer.
For me, like anybody can be an engineer.
Morataya is not your typical engineering student. He's a 38-year-old senior at North Carolina A&T State University who moved to the U.S. as a child from El Salvador.
When I was living over there, my younger age, it wasn't a war. They were constantly and fighting the guerrilla and the military.
Morataya is one of 1,200 students on campus for Technology Week, the purpose of which is to educate, inform, and display technology as a career choice.
If it go forward, it will, the green light, it will be green. So now it's moving.
For Morataya, he's showing off a motorized coffee table.
I had this idea about this table, like a coffee table in the house. And I was wondering if you can move the table like automatic table.
An invention like this might seem easy enough to make, but it takes a lot of hard work and dedication before these experiments can help us in the future.
It's like a puzzle, I'll be finding my piece of the puzzle, and I just still, what I did, I just put it together, and I still putting together right now. Who knows? If I live longer, I will do later.
Encouraging words from a man whose path to his future wasn't always so straight. In Greensboro, Aaliyah Williamson, NABJ News.
St. Patrick's Day was Thursday, but celebrations continue until the weekend.
And hear how local police are cracking down to keep the roads safe. Coming up.
When I walk into the WRAL news studios every day, this is the first thing I see. WRAL, focused on people and community.
It's not a slogan or a gimmick. It's a reminder of why we come to work every day. For you.
You are our priority, the core of who we are and what we do.
You are the compass that guides us. Our commitment is to inform and protect you every day, always with heart and compassion, with integrity and honesty.
You have high expectations for us to be everywhere you choose to get your information.
It is our privilege to serve you, and it's a responsibility we never take lightly.
People and community, you are who we are.
Every single day, we are WRAL.
A former hospital employee in Washington State is accused of putting patients at risk of contracting hepatitis and even HIV. The man was a surgical technician 4 years ago. That's when the hospital says he switched needles filled with painkillers and put other substances inside the former employees. Tested positive for B blood or blood-borne diseases. The hospital sent letters to more than 1,300 former patients advising them to get tested.
And St. Patrick's Day celebrations continue this weekend, but be careful before you go. Bottoms up. Police will be out and plan to crack down. And NABJ's Kenneth Martin has a story for us.
Think about driving St. Patrick's Day. You may want to put those keys down and think twice. Folks are all decked out in green for some Irish fun.
To people, we're going to drink a whole lot more than we should, and we're going to celebrate the fact that none of us are really from Ireland.
Greensboro Police Officer E.Y. Watkins says if you plan to drink, assign a designated driver because officers will be out on patrol.
During this weekend, we do have extra patrol out, and we will have a check-in station.
Deanna Say says her life has been impacted because of alcoholism. People in her family have been arrested for drunk driving.
I have a lot of relatives who drink, and because we're Irish, I have a lot of relatives who have struggled with alcoholism, and they have had DWIs and DUIs and have had their license suspended.
Police say that people have options to be safe during the holiday weekend, and they want everyone to celebrate responsibly. King Dustin is prepared because he knows that officers will be out on the streets.
We're going to Uber today all over.
In Greensboro, Kenneth Martin, NABJ News.
Now, this is just something to think about. If you're even considering drinking and driving, police can revoke your license for at least 30 days if you fail a breathalyzer test.
Unfortunately, we're waiting to learn the funeral arrangements for the North Carolina lawmaker who died on the same day he lost his primary election. Guilford County State Representative Ralph Johnson died Tuesday. His office says he suffered complications from his stroke February. Johnson was elected into the House Senate in 2014. After his death, the North Carolina governor ordered all flags on state buildings to fly at half-staff. Ralph Johnson was 62 years old. The Triad area is also mourning the loss of a pioneer.
Earlene Parman was the first black state senator from Forsyth County. She passed at the age of 72.
And Parman was an advocate for education, jobs, and women's rights. NABJ's Ashley Wilson interviewed Parman's family friend about her influence and legacy.
She was a powerhouse of a lady. She was small in stature, but she was a powerhouse.
Winston-Salem native and community activist Earlene Parman was a woman who sought to tackle the problems of North Carolina. and to make the state a better place for future generations.
And we all love her. We all love her very much. I mean, she was our mom.
North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory also released a statement that said she was a determined champion for the disadvantaged, and her passing is a loss for every citizen of this state.
I just feel like she's still here. It's very difficult to believe that she's gone.
Harmon's liveliness was cut short at the age of 72 when she died Tuesday afternoon. The senator will be holding a visitation from 5 to 7 at Emmanuel Baptist Church, and on Monday the funeral will be held at 12 noon. In Winston-Salem for NABJ News, I'm Ashley Wilson.
The Earlene Parman Scholarship Fund is now available for minority students to attend a historically black college or university, and the goal is to inspire young people to continue with higher education, ultimately getting their degree.
Coming up, while most students spent their spring break relaxing, see how one Aggie spent his time in service. That's coming up. Stay with us.
Kids, job, family, you're busy, we know.
But that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice knowing what's going on. Want more news from your neighborhood in less time? You got it. WXII 12 News at 5, 6, 10, and 11 has new content and more of it.
What that means for you is more stories and weather information to help keep your family safe, all while not wasting your time.
That's why WXII 12 News keeps your busy life.
WXII 12 News, the Triad's #1 news.
An NFL player died in an accident on Thursday.
NABJ's Alan Mead has more on the story.
Thank you, Dominique. Unfortunately, the Baltimore Ravens cornerback Trey Walker died from his injuries in a dirt bike accident. Police say Walker's bike was hit from an SUV on Thursday night. Walker was selected in the 4th round of the last year's NFL draft pick. He may have been retired as a Denver Bronco, but quarterback Peyton Manning will be remembered forever as an Indianapolis Colt. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay held a press conference to announce that the franchise will build a statue of Manning outside of Lucas Oil Stadium and retire his jersey. Manning played for the Colts for 14 seasons before heading over to Denver. Here's more local news. The city of Greensboro lost $26 million after the men's ACC tournament was moved to Washington, D.C. this year. Greensboro Mayor Nancy Vaughn says although they missed the prestige, they have been able to plug the financial hole. Several new events are in the works to make up for the financial loss. And don't worry, the ACC tournament will return to Greensboro in 2020. The North Carolina A&T State University women's basketball team is going into the NCAA tournament as champions. A&T beat Coppin State to win the MEAC championship. That makes them the only team, men or women, in the triad to make a tournament. The Lady Aggies are now in Indiana to take on #1 seeded Notre Dame. Tip-off is set for 6:30 p.m. tonight. That is for your sports report. Back to you, Aaliyah and Dominique.
Thank you, Alan. Millions watched last Sunday as CBS revealed the matchups for the men's basketball tournament. Will your bracket be busted after another crazy regular season?
NABJ's Alexis Wainwright went to a Greensboro bar to learn the science behind bracketology.
An hour before tip-off, and college hoops fan Cameron Armbruster has a front row seat at the bar at Stemple Stillskins.
I'm a UNC fan, and I'm ready to see him win, hopefully, this year.
Friends convinced Armbruster to get into the bracket just to see who knows basketball the best.
I normally lose anyway, so we'll see how it goes.
Considering the unpredictable nature of the tournament, you can't be too influenced by the numbers. Upsets happen every year, and while picking the right team out of the 64 games is tough, getting a perfect bracket, well, it's nearly impossible.
I've been doing this for about 18 years, and I've never had a perfect bracket. I don't expect to get it now.
By the end of the first weekend, half of the brackets, like mine, are already shot. That's because experts say the chances of having a perfect bracket are more than 1 in 9 quadrillion. That's a 9 with 18 zeros behind it. But hey, that hasn't stopped anyone from trying.
Anybody's guess is as good as yours. So you take the chance. It's usually maybe a 20-35% chance of winning.
It's worth it for the fans who love their college hoops and all the madness that it comes with. In Greensboro, Alexis Wainwright, NABJ News.
Now, whether you understand bracketology or not, this year's tournament promises to bring plenty of excitement, as it has for my school and Team Hampton Pirates. They went to the tournament. It was very exciting for us.
That's true, and actually our women's team here at A&T is going to be in the tournament as well.
Great for us.
That's so true. And in other news, some of the college basketball teams have already created major upsets in the tournament, and more may follow.
And North Carolina A&T police officers will be trading their uniforms for basketball jerseys this weekend, and they are teaming up with local first responders to raise money for the Special Olympics of North Carolina.
They're holding a tournament with competitors similar to the NBA All-Star Weekend. It's being held at the Corbett Sports Arena. The games start this morning. Admission is $5.
A couple things went down earlier this week and got a lot of people talking.
Yes, here's trending reporter Kenneth Martin with the headlines.
Madonna's Rebel Heart Tour has her feeling like a true rebel. During her concert, she pulled down a teenager's corset and exposed her breast Thursday night in Brisbane, Australia. The teenager was unbothered, but many fans called the move offensive. A replacement Miss Puerto Rico will be walking the stage during the next Miss Universe pageant. Pageant officials replaced Christy Lucaride after she refused to participate in interviews. Brenda Jimenez will compete as the new Miss Puerto Rico. Is it the shortest retirement ever or a publicity stunt? Rapper LL Cool J went on a Twitter rant earlier this week saying he was retiring from music. But those tweets were replaced with a new tweet announcing he is working on a new album. He says the retirement tweet was just a joke. That's all for your trending topics for now. Back to you in the studio.
While most students use their spring breaks to live it up and party a little, a local college student chose to spend his free time to give back.
That's right, using his skills and his free time, he's showing how he is a cut above the rest. Alan Mead has more with the story.
Meet David Trevino. Outside of being a student at North Carolina A&T, David serves as an on-campus barber. During his spring break, while others went on vacation, David chose to give back to his community by providing free haircuts to the children of a low-income neighborhood. David says because he enjoys cutting hair, he uses his talent as a way to help and inspire others.
I target that area because of the kids that are there. So I felt like I needed to go there to be like that role model.
David has plans for this summer to have another event that will be even bigger than the one he hosted for spring break. But until then, he chooses to focus on his classes and continue cutting hair on campus. Reporting from Greensboro, I'm Alan Mead, NABJ News.
Well, unfortunately, that's it for us with NABJ News. I'm Dominique Moody.
And I'm Aaliyah Williamson. Thank you for watching.